create your speaking material. Have you ever had the feeling that, oh, there's no more ideas coming? I have. But I discovered a solution last night. Well, not the solution, but a solution last night when I was in a writing class at Second City. It's called word clustering. So in the next 5 to 7 minutes, I would like to walk you through the exercise. This is the interactive workshop. We'll do the exercise together, and keep in mind that you can always do that alone at home by yourself or with some other folks. And at the end, I would like to have a table topic volunteer to use the word clustering and give a 1 to 2 minutes short speech on the subject we talked about. So can someone give me a theme that's important for you? For example, school or family or
Food.
food. Of course.
Also known as poison.
Well, we start with the food as theme, though think about poison. Right? What else? When you think about food, you think about
Freshness.
freshness.
Energy.
So food, think about energy,
Healing.
GMO.
Taste.
Barbara, you said?
Healing.
Healing. Ooh. Thing,
Taste.
taste,
Frequency.
frequency,
Shortage.
shortage,
Abundance.
hungry.
Not really.
You are hungry. All right, so that's the first layer from your theme, the central topic. The interesting thing is when you want to craft a speech, you talk about food, you may or may not want to go to the immediate place. That's too easy for your audience. You may want to think about something a layer deeper. So let's do an example. If you think about healing, what do you think about? Forget about the rest of the picture. Think about healing, you think about
Sun. The sun.
sun, yeah. And you think about healing, you think about
Vitality.
vitality. And you think about healing, you think about
Death.
death. You think about healing, you think about
Nutrition.
nutrition. And one more,
Cure. Yeah.
keyword. Let's pick another one. Say energy. Think about energy, think about
Exercise.
exercise,
Strength.
strength,
Electricity.
electricity. Energy,
Olympic winner.
Olympic winner. And
Drink.
drink. Let's do one more. Pick one of the orange one.
Abundance.
Abundance. You think about abundance, you think about
Water.
water,
Happiness.
happiness,
Fulfillment.
fulfillment. If I can spell it. Yeah. Two more. Abundance,
Stars.
Thanksgiving.
stars. Alright. Janet?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Right. And of course, if you want to go one layer further, you can start with Thanksgiving and what reminds you about Thanksgiving. That's another layer down and deeper. You can even do that with all the things. You may end up with gigantic word cluster. Now, the way we use this map is with the central thing in mind, food. just pick a branch to start. Pick a branch to tell your personal experience. Something remind you of. Just think about this as a table topics. Do I have a volunteer? Jana. Tim, can you help me to get 1 minute for Shannon also? Thank you. So Shannon, what would you like to talk about?
Abundance.
One of the blue one.
Well, I was going to use the blue ones that were there.
That would be beautiful too. Go ahead.
When I was a little girl, Thanksgiving was always one of my favorite holidays, and we would go to visit my grandfather's house. We would travel to his house and we would cross the river, and we'd always, whenever we went over the bridge, all of us would yell, "Water, water!" We really did. And it was always a very happy time. He had a big table, almost as big as this, and it was covered with food that my unmarried aunt who lived with him had made, and my mother also brought things, and there was just food everywhere. It was just an incredible display of abundance. We were all happy because there was something that everyone loved, and there was nothing you weren't allowed to eat. You could have as many helpings as you wanted. And it was nice just being with family and talking and having a wonderful time, so it felt very fulfilling. And we would stay until it was time for bed, and we'd drive home, and because it was late in the year, it was dark out, and we'd look up and we'd see all the stars in the sky. And my mother would say, "There are all the people who love you looking down on you." It was a wonderful time and a wonderful memory.
This is an example of how you can use word clustering. The class I'm taking is about how you convert the personal experience to stand-up comedy material. And we started with something we're passionate about. Now some people talk about their girlfriends, some people talk about their OCDs, and I talk about the American dream and the language challenge. I was very surprised how deep it was actually get, and I was able to generate those ideas that we never thought about. So I love the word clustering, and I would invite you to try it out, create your speech ideas as well as share your life experience. Mr. Toastmaster.
Julie, I liked your speech as well. I liked that you set it up at the beginning. This will be an interactive workshop for the next 5 to 7 minutes, so I don't have to worry, is this going to go on too long? And the use of your flip chart was very, very effective. And I like that technique. I think I would like to use that myself as well, as Barbara mentioned. That's something very good. I was not sure how this could be training on television, which is what it says the speech is supposed to be, because of the interactive nature of it. So that was my one question. And I thought, in terms of growth opportunities, you seem to jump into that table topic. And I thought, perhaps a transition. I wasn't sure why we suddenly jumped into the table topic. Using a table topic is good, but just a little transition, a little more transition would be helpful.
Julia, I like the question at the beginning, and it's already been mentioned. It's good to have a technique. Something important about a technique, though, and I'll come to that in just a little bit. The prop, very effective. The flip chart. I haven't seen flip charts used a lot, but it's a good example of how a flip chart can be dynamic, interactive in a way that PowerPoint or something like that really can. They try to make it that way, but not really like a good old-fashioned flip chart. So that was great. Thoughts for improvement. First thing is kind of a universal thing. Think about pausing longer after a question. I mean, how quickly you talk doesn't matter, but it's a good question. Give us a chance to think about it. Every question the audience should be able to answer in their mind. Pause just long enough so you can answer it in your own mind, then go on. So ask the question, answer it in your mind, then continue. And finally, when you're giving anything that's new or different, one thing people are basically asking their head. They're thinking, why should I care? What does this matter to me? Why bother? Why am I wasting my time here? It's a brand new thing. What the heck is this? So think about the benefits. Not, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, this is what you will get. understand, you will learn, you will discover. And keeping that in mind, think about push-pull, where you talk about first the negative things, and if you don't do it, and the positive things. Like, if you don't use this technique, you'll find your mind scatters. You can't really think of ideas. Maybe you get stuck at table topics, and you become, it's because your mind isn't flowing enough. Use this technique, you'll open up your mind, you'll discover thoughts you never had, you'll be able to write where you if you can take this back to work, you get the idea. Push, pull. Then people say, well, I got to hear about this. And when you finally get to the technique, then people are really aware. But just setting up the technique and pushing it on people with no benefits, they were just like, not for me.
The fact that you prepare, you get up before your speech starts, you hold it, you wrote that. So that's preparation is before you give the speech, and of course during the giving the speech is very important. So you did that very clearly, and that's very important. I think rather than you were standing up and then pulling the chart, and people would know that she's starting is their part of the speech. You started with a question, it's always positive. It catches the audience. You also started with your signature pause, which is a very good pause. It is not, doesn't, at least the way I look at it, doesn't tell me that you are confused or you just pause. It's a very good natural pause, so it's very effective. And the speech was dynamic. The nature of it. It says soliciting comments from the audience and writing. So those kind of speeches, it doesn't bore the audience. Just one comment for possible area for improvement. When you were talking about, we started with this topic, which is food, and then you were soliciting input for word clustering, and we were not sure, should the suggestion or so the word that we throw, should it be related directly to food, or should it be anything that comes to my mind? And I could use one example that I gave. I throw the word food, but then when we went somewhere to abundance, well, in my mind it's stars, the stars are abundance. But I was reluctant. Is that what the stars has something to do with the food? So I just throw it anyway. So my suggestion is just to let the audience know, are you supposed to give a word that is related to the main theme, which is in this case food? Don't give me something that's way out, or is it? So that probably would be much clearer. So I would not be, if you would have said any word that comes to mind, then I wouldn't be reluctant to throw anything not necessarily related to food.
Julia, I enjoyed this so much that I didn't write anything down. I was really quite captivated by it. I will say that I thought that you did a great job of interacting with the audience, really dragging us in and getting us to participate. And I obviously was utterly captivated by it. It wasn't until Mary brought up the point that this is supposed to be on TV, so how are you going to get people to do that? Point there. I think that one thing that you could have done was bring up several other instances where this might be helpful. You have to prepare a report for your boss, or who knows in what other circumstances it would do. I do think you talked about the fact that this can help you get unstuck, and to me it seems like it really would. This is something that I will use, and I thought it was very well presented.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Of course, Julia! I absolutely like the way that you present yourself up here. And not only in an audience like this, but certainly I can picture it, imagine in front of a TV. This would be phenomenal, especially with close-ups to the presentation and maybe shooting out to the audience and your presenter. So this could really be something that's dynamic, and I think it's been done already professionally, and for you to step into that arena, I think really speaks well of you. You asked me to look at a few things, and this is a training on television, and certainly there are objectives. You really went through the objectives very well. You went through connecting with the audience. It was very clear, very logical. Your voice and your gestures and your facial expressions certainly speaks about the experience that you already had. Were you relaxed, confident, poised? And of course, yes, you were. I did notice one thing as you were looking for a participant. There was a little unbalance or uncertainty, and that perhaps I'll speak about shortly. But here's what I've learned recently that I think maybe applied to this. You be the judge. the title of your speech must capture attention. And, as you noticed earlier, the Toastmaster had a little difficulty wondering what that was, word clustering, and actually I didn't quite get that either. So, let me present something for you to think about as a better title. And if you have seen books that are already written out there, they have actually two titles, and it's called the heading and the subheading. And the reason for the heading is this, that it captures attention, Shannon, so that you want to read on. And the subheading, Tim, is to really almost close it a little bit more. So you have a heading and a subheading in your title. So let me propose a new title for your speech. May I do that?
Yes, please.
Julia Chung, word clustering for the successful or circling the covered wagon? Now, that kind of, one of those two is going to hit me. I am successful, so I'm going to listen, and I don't know what this has to do with circling the covered wagon, but I'm intrigued. One of those two is going to catch me. So let me suggest that you look at that to enhance it, because the word clustering is kind of catchy too. So as you went through that, you certainly asked very good questions. 2 at the beginning, I suggest 3, but your choice. And you certainly used the flip chart very well. In fact, it wasn't a flip chart, it was one chart, and I liked that because there's not a lot of flipping. You stayed on one, and it was presented so that if you have a camera zooming in, we could follow. And you certainly had a lot of good audience participation. We were just, once the word went up there, Mary, it would just seem like, oh, well, I got to add on something. We were almost fighting to get your attention so you could write it. So I think that's very good audience participation. And you summarized very well too. And as some of the other members mentioned, is involving the audience. So let me suggest beyond the heading, subheading, a couple of thoughts, if I may. And that is, I suspect you didn't use a plant in your audience. Always, always, always have 2 plants. One that one, but a real person, because you never know, especially on TV. If you can imagine, you have multi-million-dollar set, and they go to the audience, somebody come up, and nobody comes up. That doesn't work. We cut to commercials, maybe, and then frantically look for a plant. Always, always, always get a plant that doesn't act or look like a plant. It's kind of one of those devious things that I kind of like to do because it's an inside joke. But the other part is, as you had a speaker up here, now in Toastmasters we let the speaker speak. In a TV audience, I've always seen the host stand to the side so that when the camera zooms in or panels, you're looking at the speaker and you're nodding and you're saying, and you're encouraging, you're standing right here because I saw you sitting over there. I think there's a distance, you distances away from your speaker, and the camera catches that. From a speaking situation, it's okay to do that. I think you were simulating for a Toastmaster. From a TV standpoint, you're a host and the speaker, and you want to keep them there simply because that person may not be familiar, may be uncomfortable, and you always want to step in case that happens, that something goes wrong. But certainly, I really look forward to your TV presentation, whenever that might be. Mr. Toastmaster.